Well, hello, and let's have a Zen fit in the afternoon. I don't have to have one in the morning all the time, but when I get the urge, when I get the fit, I want to get it out there. And so I've had a great morning. I realized today that I just made my mother's great philosophical truth, or the truth she lived by, come true. What she said was, concerning her body, she lived to be 102, and she said, if I can fix it, I get it fixed. If I can't, I accept it. So I've had two things today. To get around to my title, Trump is a romantic hero. I want to get this out first. So I've had this persistent knocking in my, something loose in my Honda hybrid. And for months it's been going on. And I think, well, I try to accept it. Nothing's wrong with the car, it drives okay. But then I said, I'm taking it to Honda. And of course, if you just go in there, they're going to cost you to just look at it. So I took it to Honda today, and I also have a radiating pain in my right shoulder, so I thought I would stop by the little emergency hospital they have nearby. Do two things at once. So I went to Honda, and they got to it right away, and came out and said, well, there was a loose plate or something on the engine, and we torqued it down. Just the $70 diagnosis, that's it. Wow, I thought I was going to pay, I thought they were going to have to replace half the engine. I wouldn't get out of there with $300 or $400 or $500. Do I have enough on my credit card? And then I went to the, having gotten that fixed, then I went to the body shop, the doctor's shop, and they took a x-ray and said, well, you got a little spur there on your shoulder joint, so unless you want to go see an orthopedic surgeon, you just live with it. All right, so I accept that. So there you go, Mom, thanks. Okay, so Trump is a romantic hero. Now this came up because when I got back today on Facebook, there was a thread about, with my local friends, about the Confederate monuments. The Democrats are going to take down the Confederate monuments in Richmond. If you go in Richmond, there's Monument Avenue, and every block has a Confederate general on a horse. Now whenever you see a general on a horse, that's a romantic hero. A romantic hero, first of all, he's always on a horse. And first of all, he's a heroic individual. He's not just your everyman, your guy in the trenches, unless he does something. But I mean, he stands out. And he changes history. The romantic hero changes history through his willpower, through his freedom to act. He's not contracted. He's not caught up in political correctness. He's not caught up in bureaucracy and debate and doubt. Oh, should I do this or that? What should I do? Should I have a cup of tea or coffee? Oh, tea, coffee, oh. The romantic hero just, give me the coffee. Shut the fuck up. Give me, just a man of action. Do it, says Nike. Just a man of action. That's the hero, the heroic individual. So these Confederate monuments, and a monument, by the way, means different things to everyone except pigeons. For pigeons, it's just a place to crap. But for other people, it's a story. It's a mythos, you see. So I got to thinking about, why is this romance of the South? We look back at the story of the South. The story of the South is a romantic story. Romantic individual, romantic warriors, generals, the lost cause, sacrifice. Great individuals. They're individuals. And the North was the industrial North. They just put you in a machine. They just put you in a shop. They just take a craftsman and put him on the assembly line. This conflict between romance and industrialization started in England in the 1700s, when the craftsmen that were hereditary crafts of the Middle Ages were put into factories. The craftsman, the individual who made a whole shoe was put into a factory making a shoelace, you see. So the factory and the industrial splits up the whole man, splits up the heroic man, breaks him into fragments and puts him in a machine. Now you're just a machine, you see. So for the South, the agrarian South, was an idyllic place of the free individual, the whole man, you see. There were no industry down there. There was no machines down there. It was a romantic place, a Garden of Eden. Idyllic now. We're dealing with mythos. We're not dealing with slavery and the horrors of it and all that. We're dealing with the romance of the South that still perpetuated in the minds of white Southerners, you see. So this conflict is still there between the heroic individual, my freedom and my gun, you see, and the socialist, liberal, northern, industrial factory people who are going to come and put you and take away your individuality. That's why people, socialism, communism, same thing. It basically means it's going to take away your freedom, your individuality, and just make you look like everyone else. You're going to look like a member of the Orient, just a horde of people, faceless people, no outstanding individuals. You look at the West, you see, go to England, go to these mansions, you see. What do you see on the wall? Huge portraits of heroic individuals. The West worships heroic individuals, the romance of the individual, you see. But it's always been in conflict with the industrialization, the submergence of the individual to the whole, the duty to the whole instead of to the individual. These are eternal conflicts that go all the way back to Greek and Rome. The Greek reason was logos. The Greek mind discovered the rational laws. We're curious about the rational laws, the logos, that was the operating system of nature. What are the laws of nature, you see? The mythos, which was the Hebrew point of view, was you don't have to figure out the laws of nature. God made the laws, you just surrender to God, just to be obedient to God. That's all the law you need. God makes the law, you don't need to figure it out. But the Greek, what are the laws? How do you make this thing work, you see? What are the laws? I just finished reading Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. What are the laws of the motorcycle? How do you make it work? Oh, I don't give a darn about the laws, just enjoy riding the motorcycle. When it breaks down, you go find a mechanic. You see, romance of the bride, the classical or the maintenance man. How do you work this? What's the law here? Two different ways of viewing reality. Objective is the Greek, subjective is the Hebrew, Southern, heroic, romance, subjective, my meaning, my personal meaning, the logos of the North. What are the laws, how to make society? What is a good policy? What is a good policy, you see? How do you make a society work with good policy? The right says, the hell with policy, you just need heroic individuals. They'll do what's right. You don't need any policy. You see these conflicts here? Subjective democracy? So the title of this talk is Trump is a Romantic Hero. Well, in this context, Trump ought to be on one of those horses down there in Monument Avenue. He's the heroic in the eyes of his fans, his romantic followers. He's a romantic hero. He doesn't listen to experts and decide and debate. He just does it. Fuck it. Mama. Fuck it. Romantic hero. Dirty Harry. Make my day, punk. Dirty Harry came in the 70s to clean up the liberal mess of the 60s, where all the manly man, all the men were being made effeminate, you see, and long hair, wearing makeup. You see, instead of working, taking drugs, instead of going to war, you're getting doped up, you see. All those hippies and lefties, Dirty Harry comes in. We're going to fix those punks. The hell with your rights. Boom. See the two views here? It's still going on. It's still, even today with Iran, the romantic hero, there he is, fucking blow him up. And the logo says, well, wait a minute, what's going to happen if you do that? What are the consequences? Fuck the consequences. There you go, you see. We're still fighting the Civil War. Don't take down the monuments. What do you mean? There's just crap for pigeons. Or they represent slavery, the oppression of people. What? Two views, you see. Both are right. Both are right, you see. So what happens is that we've lost the ability to understand that in life, opposites coexist. Opposites coexist. The subjective and the objective view coexist. You can't eliminate one or the other. You destroy life when you do that. If you destroy the subjective view, that's me as a person, and remove that, then you just make me into an object and just fit me into a machine or put me in a gas chamber, you see. But if you just view from the right, from the heroic individual, if you just view from the subjective, then you have abandoned logic, science, reason, the rational element. So there's two halves of the brain. You got the left and the right brain here. One's intuitive, one's rational, you see. And we've divided the human brain into two political parties, the right and the left, you see, the rational and the intuitive. You see, we've divided our own brain into two viewpoints. And neither can eliminate the other because you kill the brain if you eliminate one of them, you see. So we have to learn to coexist with these two views, to find a new America, a new way of being that allows these opposite views to coexist instead of creating wedge issues that keep them apart. Take abortion. That's a wedge issue that divides the two halves of the brain. And so it just generates this terrible frustration and anger. We're trying to get our whole brain back, but we can't because the only way we're told to do it is to get rid of the other brain, the other half of me, you see. It's like a mirror trying to get rid of its reflection, or the reflection trying to get rid of the mirror. So that's where we're stuck, you see. Unless we can understand, there again, you see, and understand we have the logos, or the reason to understand the dilemma we're in, we're just going to perpetuate it and kick the can down the road. Anyway, that's my Zen fit for the afternoon. Had a great day. Hope you have one too. See you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow.